Alright, welcome back everybody to episode 2 of the Dark Souls 1 All Bosses walkthrough. So episode 1 of this was just clearing the Undead Asylum, the very intro tutorial of the game, and now we're in Firelink Shrine, ready to move on. So, from the very beginning you have a bunch of options available to you in Dark Souls 1 to be able to go, but I'm not going to show you like all of the options that you have. I'm just going to show you what is intended. Since if you're watching this, it's likely this is your first time playing the game, so you're probably going to want to go for the easiest route and not for anything crazy challenging. So last episode I was talking about humanity and how you're able to kindle bonfires. So we're actually going to use a couple of those humanities that we picked up. Actually, we'll use 3. So you'll see that the number up in that corner there changes to 3, so that represents how much humanity we have. Now, you don't only get those from just consuming humanities, you also get what's called soft humanity, which is just by doing various things throughout the game will just naturally give you humanity. But if you're looking for just like instant, I need to get my humanity up, that's the way to do it, is to consume those items. So we're going to reverse our hollowing, go back to human form. So now that we're human, we can kindle the bonfire, but you can see it says cannot kindle further without this secret rite. That secret rite we'll be able to get later in the game to let us kindle this bonfire even further. Alright, so up these stairs is where you want to go. This is going to take us to the Undead Burg. There's a few hollow soldiers up here to just be wary of. These ones up on the stairs, well, that one back there in particular will throw fire bombs, so just try to stay out of his range if possible. Now, as good as the axe is for strength scaling, I don't really like its move set. So as soon as we find a specific weapon that I'm looking for that I like better, we're going to be switching our weapon up. Okay, if you come along here, you'll see that there's nothing on this side. And then there's just one more hollow up here. Oh, never mind. He jumped down already. Cool. So we'll grab this item. There's a couple of things down there that we missed. Ah, here he is. I was like, where did that guy go? Alright. One thing that drives me crazy about the first Dark Souls is, man, it feels like your weapon just bonks off of walls all the time. So you have to be very particular with where you're aiming your weapons. I'll take care of this guy real quick. Grab this item. Okay. And then jumping in the Dark Souls trilogy is different than what it is in Elden Ring. Elden Ring, you have an actual just one button that you can push. In the Dark Souls games, you have to hold in B to sprint, and then you'll push left click to jump. Now, in the original Dark Souls, this is the remastered version. In the original, for whatever reason, it was designed where you would hold in B and then push B again really quickly to jump, and it was just so inconsistent. So the whole thumbstick, clicking the thumbstick to jump thing has been a very nice thing to have instead. So we'll use that to jump across here and grab this item over here, which this is a Ring of Sacrifice. What that does is if you have like a good amount of souls that you're worried about losing and then potentially not getting back to from dying, the Ring of Sacrifice is if you die, it will let you keep all the souls that you have at that time. However, the ring will break after you die, so you want to be very cautious with when you're using it. Again, it's a good thing to put on if you're like, holy crap, I've got so many souls right now, but I can't get to a bonfire. It's a great ring to put on just in case. Alright, in here is a rat, which rats in Dark Souls 1, their attacks will poison you. So they kind of suck in this game. And when you don't have a lot of armor on, or you're at a low level like we are right now, that poison can happen very quickly. So we're going to try to get a good angle on him without bonking the wall. There we go. And rats often drop humanity. That's one of their more common drops from killing them. So if you're trying to farm humanity, rats are a good way to go. Alright, up here we'll see this gate that is locked. We can't get through it right now. We will be able to get back from there, but for now we'll go through this archway and up these stairs. We have now made it to the Undead Burg. Ooh. Nice whiff. I really just don't like the axe moveset. In fact, I think we're going to go to a two-handed, because I like that a little bit more. Ouch. That's the only downside of going two-handed, is then these hollows will just seemingly just jump without any kind of warning, and that can really suck. Alright, before we go through that fog wall, there is a drop down here that we can do. So if we break these barrels, we can drop down here, grab this item, drop down again. Watch out for this dude. Another couple right here. Alright, then we can go through this doorway here. There's an item overhanging this ledge. And then there's nothing back here. Now we can come across this little bridge. Okay, in this little area there's a bunch of hollows that are just hanging on to the ledges here. They're going to try to ambush you. So try to knock off which ones you can. It'll save you a lot of grief as opposed to just getting ambushed by all of them. Because even though you can kill hollows in one hit, it's easy to get overwhelmed if there's a large number of them. Alright, then back up this ladder, we're able to grab this item over here. And go through this broken piece of the wall, and we're back to where we started. So now we can progress through that fog wall. Alright. I believe that's the only item in this room. Yep. Up these stairs is going to be a hollow. Oh, never mind. I remembered that wrong. Okay, so right here, looks like something you'd, more or less be able to jump over and get to that other side. But as it stands right here, it is incredibly difficult to actually get to that point. Even if you manage to jump at the very edge at 60 frames per second, it almost never works. So there is another easier way to get there that we'll be trying here in just a second. All right, whoops. Okay, as we come here, Drake is going to come hit this bridge. He's going to kind of stun you for a second, but he doesn't actually attack you. He just flies away. All right. So this little part here has a bunch of hollows that are just going to get ready to attack you. There's one archer up there too to keep an eye on. If you didn't know, arrows in these games like to curve just straight towards you because, the game isn't hard enough as it is. It's like, I'll come over here, you can see it curve. Now, with the master key, we're able to open this door right away. And there is a shield that we can grab. And we're going to come up here and kill this dude. Like, no range with this thing. Okay, before we go over that bridge, we got a lot more stuff to do first. In here is a bonfire. We're going to light it, not quite rest at it. We're going to make sure that that is active. So one thing with Dark Souls 1 that is unique, well, I guess not entirely unique, Demon Souls is kind of the same thing for most of the game. You cannot teleport to other bonfires right from the beginning. Fast travel is not a thing until about halfway through the game. So you need to make sure that you are getting everything that you can in each area before you leave, because early in the game it's going to be a while before you actually get a chance to go back. Alright, so got some shield and spear hollows here. So your option here is to wait for them to attack and then just try to get behind them to backstab. Another thing you can do is just kick their shields down, and that leaves them open for an attack. The kicking is pushing forward and R1 at the same time. That is what causes that animation to play. And doing that against their shield just kicks it away. And boom. Easy hit. Alright, down here is our first merchant. This is the Undead Merchant. That is literally his name. From him, we're going to buy... Let's see... don't need the residence key. Want a bow. Yeah, let's get that short bow. We'll also buy some standard arrows from him. That gives us an opportunity to have some range, although right now we don't have enough dexterity to wield a bow yet. Alright, watch out behind here. There is this hollow that's just waiting out for you. And coming across this part. And then down. Whole bunch of mad hollows in here. And now we can go up this ladder. And this takes us to that jumping point that I pointed out earlier. So from this roof, I'm able to grab this item and then jump over to that part of the building much easier than before. Which allows us to get this item up here on this balcony. Light crossbow and standard bolts. And then you're good to just drop back down. Okay. Now we'll go back to that bonfire and I'll show you how to kindle. Because if you had less than 5 Estus flasks by the point that you rest at this bonfire, you will only get charged back up to 5. Firelink is already kindled once automatically, so you'll always start with 10 when you get there. But you see I have 9 right now. It didn't go back up to 10 because this is at a level 1 kindling. So we're going to kindle it by offering up one of our humanity. And that gets us to 10 Estus flasks. So very cool. We don't have enough souls to level up, so I'll call that good there. Up these stairs, you'll see the staircase is broken, so we can't get past there. There is a ladder that we're able to kick down later on as a shortcut. Shortcuts in this game are very, very important. Sometimes in the later games, shortcuts can kind of feel useless, but they definitely put a lot of thought into the ones in this game in particular. Alright, so this guy's going to aggro. You can hear behind you, those hollows are throwing fire bombs down from above. So you can see them just over there throwing them. So as you cross this bridge, you need to be careful that you don't get hit by any of those. So we're just going to try to run in this room. There's 3 hollows in here that you need to worry about. One of them is a soldier. There we go. We're going to parry this guy. Alright, this is yet another shortcut that we're able to unlock later in the level. Okay, now as we come through here, we can go here to the right before going up those stairs. There's a hollow in here. And then another one around the corner in this little hallway. Now going up in here, there's a chest that we're able to grab. Now, if you're worried about mimics, they don't actually pop up in this game until much later, until about the midway point. So every chest that you see up until that point, you're good to go ahead and open. Alright, now up here we come face to face with 3 hollows. And if we go up the ladder to the right of us, we'll be able to fight the ones that are throwing the fire bombs. There we go. Some sweet revenge if they ever killed you at any point. Then we can drop back down here. Okay, here we have a couple of options. With the master key, we're able to open this door. If we go through, there's a chest that contains gold pine resin, which, if you've played any Dark Souls games before, you know is an incredibly good buff that you're able to apply to your weapon. So definitely a good item worth going for. Top of this tower is going to be a crossbow hollow. Take him out real quick, because if we start fighting those guys down there without killing him, he's going to be shooting at us and just being really annoying. Oh, this guy came down here. Alright, so yeah, if possible, just try to aggro these guys one at a time. They can be kind of annoying if you get them all coming up on you at once. Boom. Okay, so you'll see up in the top left corner that humanity indicator. So I spent a humanity at that bonfire to kindle it. But this is what I was talking about before. We received soft humanity just by playing through the game. Because we were at 1 and now we're back up to 2, and I didn't consume any like actual humanity consumables. So that's the soft humanity that I was talking about. Okay, so to progress in the level, we want to go up these stairs. However, if we go down here, we'll come face to face with our first elite enemy of Dark Souls. And on my very first playthrough, this guy absolutely destroyed me just over and over and over again. And I just was like, this game's impossible. You can't beat it. This is a Black Knight, the first of a number that you'll come across in this game. What we're going to do is we're going to get him to aggro and then just come up to this more like wide area. You can fight him down there if you want to, but it's so risky because it's such a just narrow area, and so your weapon bonking off of stuff is very common. A good trick with the Black Knights is to just put your shield up, wait for them to attack, and then just keep strafing. Like if you just keep strafing to their right, they'll eventually open up their back to you and allow you to hit them. Now, another thing you can do is go for some parries. They're not too hard to parry. And if you keep doing that, you're well on your way to success. Ouch. Try to parry him for the last one. There we go. If you die to that guy, don't feel bad. Like I said, it happened to me a ton on my first playthrough. He does a lot of damage for early game, and it can be kind of tough to learn his moves, but after you've played this game as many times as I have, they're really easy. Alright, and then past him, I'm trying to remember what this item is. Blue Tearstone Ring. Alright, so in Dark Souls 1, you only get 2 ring slots. So Dark Souls 3, 2, and Elden Ring, they all give you 4 spots that you're able to put rings on. This one's pretty brutal. You have to be very, very selective with your ring choices because you only have 2 spots. So we're going to put the Blue Tearstone Ring on for now because we don't have anything else, so might as well. Alright, and now we're going to go up these steps towards our next boss. Alright, so this guy is going to kick down this flaming barrel. We're going to just let that go by so we don't get hit by it. Oh, we're too far below him, so it wouldn't let me riposte on that parry. Alright, now another thing you can do if you are feeling very adventurous and you have the master key, you are able to open this door right away. If you go all the way down to the bottom, you are going to come across Havel, who, if you beat him, he drops Havel's Ring, which is very good. It increases your max equip load, so it lets you wear more armor, use bigger weapons, and stuff like that without being too detrimental to your equip load itself. However, at this point of the game, he will crush you if he gets a single hit on you. He uses the Dragon Tooth weapon, which does a lot of damage in trade-off for being slow. So if you feel confident enough, you can go down and fight him. But again, one hit, you're toast, no matter what, if you're at this early of a level. So I am confident in fighting Havel a little bit later on. At this early, though, it's just not worth the risk to me, even though I do love Havel's Ring. So we'll get there eventually. But for now, we're just going to leave him alone. Pretty sure there's nothing in these barrels, but I just wanted to make sure. Yep. Alright. Ah, there's the crystal lizard. I was like, I could have sworn there was a crystal lizard in here. And there he is. So crystal lizards, again, if you're new to Souls games, if you kill them, they drop rare upgrade materials. So definitely worth taking the time to try to take out. However, after some time, they will disappear. So your time frame for getting them is pretty small. All right, through this fog wall is going to be our next boss. This is the Taurus demon. However, his fight does not activate right as we walk through. It will activate as we go like towards the other side of the bridge. He'll jump down from that battlement over there. And what we're going to do before we do that is turn around and go up this ladder. Because at the top here are a couple of crossbow hollows who can definitely make things a little annoying if you don't kill them. Ouch. So we're going to kill them so that they, aren't shooting us while we're trying to take down the Taurus demon. We'll go back down the ladder. Alright, then real quick we're going to put the gold pine resin in our quick item menu. Alright, so we're going to come over here, wait for him to show up. There he is. He'll drop down on the bridge. And we're going to run back now and go back to the top of this tower. Because he can actually be plunged just like the Asylum Demon early on. We're going to quickly buff up. You don't want to take too much time. He can jump up to the top of that tower. So if you take too much time, he'll jump up there and start fighting you, which is kind of cool. Alright, we're in an awkward spot. Going to let him attack. There we go. So you can see we took out half of his health bar just by having the gold pine resin and then doing that plunge attack. So if you want to make this guy a joke, that's the way to do it. Now another thing you're able to do here is you see this broken piece of the wall. You can actually get him to jump off of it and just kill himself. It's not like the easiest thing to get to happen. I can't remember like exactly how to get him to jump. But the very first time I beat this guy, that was how it happened. See, there's that jump right there. So if he was facing directly this way, he would have just fallen off the ledge. Yeah, my very first playthrough, I didn't actually kill this guy. Ow. He just jumped off the edge on his own. So if you get lucky enough, you can just avoid fighting him in general. But his attacks are pretty slow, pretty well telegraphed. So, should be able to take him down with ease. But again, play these games a lot. If this is your first time playing Dark Souls, he may not be that easy. Alright, he rewards us with humanity and a homeward bone. Back behind these crates are an item. Okay, then if we come out here to the right, there's this little balcony, and we're going to meet one of the most popular NPCs in all the Souls games, Solaire of Astora. He's going to talk to you about jolly cooperation, which essentially is just saying, hey, do you want people to help you out? And you help each other out with fighting monsters and stuff like that. We'll say yes. He'll give us the white soapstone. We'll say yes again. And this is what can be used to leave your summon sign for other players if you're playing online to be summoned to help with boss fights. So that's how you're able to do that cooperation, is by talking to Solaire. Alright, and there we are. Okay, so that's going to be it for this episode. So clearing out Taurus Demon, we're now going to be heading into the Undead Parish and towards one of the first really big roadblocks for a lot of people when it comes to Dark Souls, in one of the bosses that we'll be coming up here against. But yeah, so hope you enjoyed this section. We'll enjoy this little beautiful view that we've got. Yeah, next episode will be the Undead Parish. If you found yourself watching this walkthrough, I appreciate you. Liking and subscribing goes a really long way, so please do if you can. And we will see you in the next episode.